Welcome to the Living the Dream podcast with Curveball. If you believe, you can achieve. Welcome to the Living the Dream with Curveball podcast, a show where I interview guests that teach, motivate, and inspire. Today, I am joined by spiritual expert Ramona Galey. Ramona helps spiritual overthinkers find their purpose and leverage their personal assets to find success, even if they don't think that they have personal assets. So we're going to be talking to her about everything that she's up to. I call her a spiritual expert, but she'll tell you what she sees herself as. So Ramona, thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, thank you, Curtis. I am so glad to be here, very happy, and looking forward to our wonderful conversation. I know it's going to be fantastic.
Glad to have you. Why don't you start off by telling everybody a little bit about yourself?
Well, I am a vibrational mentor, and I laugh about that because people say, well, what's that? I've never heard of it. And I say, that's because I made it up. So I help people, I role model and bring hope and teach a little bit, but more mentor than teacher or coach, because we all knew about our vibration, like our feelings when we first got here as children, but we get kind of conditioned away from knowing exactly for being able to feeling our own guidance, our emotions, our sensations in our body. And that's where our intuition is, our guidance. And so I help people remember who they are and how to follow their own guidance. And been doing it for about 5 years now. And my late partner passed away 10 years ago, and that was a big paradigm shift for me. I didn't have any spiritual beliefs at the time. And because I felt at that time that my emotional support, my unconditional love had just left the planet, I was planning on joining her actually. And then I found out about this new spiritual paradigm, which most people call law of attraction. And I started learning and learning and learning and feeling better and learning how to control my thoughts and my focus, and then just feeling better and better and better and starting to get really great results in my life. So I wanted to teach it. And then eventually I started receiving infinite intelligence on behalf of other people. So my clients come in a small group setting and ask questions. And I go into a kind of a light trance. I bring forth my inner being and they answer the questions. And it's very, very, very powerful. It's a total transformation program for anybody who is on a spiritual path and wants to get there faster or feels like they're kind of blocked but a lot of different things can make us feel blocked. But that's what I do, and I love my work, and I love the results that people are getting. That's the best part.
Well, how did you come up with vibration
Right.
mentor?
Vibrational mentor. Yeah. So vibrational because I teach people about their vibration. So vibration is just kind of a term that we use to describe how we're feeling. So if we're high vibing, we feel good. If we're low vibing, we don't feel so good. So we look at different emotions and whatnot, and they're our indicator of where we're focusing. That's what our intuition is all about. That's what our guidance is about. So I teach that really all you have to do, there's only one rule: do whatever it takes to feel good. And then there's one skill: learn to discern what actually feels good. And then there's one habit: let things unfold naturally. And when you just start doing those three things, everything gets better and you start to relax, you start to feel better, you start to let go of the anxiety and the worry, and you stop overthinking. You start reducing the overthinking. I mean, we all overthink to some extent, but in fact, I'm working on my second book right now. Stop overthinking, and it's all overthinking. And it's true. We overthink everything. We put our brains above our hearts. And in terms of making plans or making decisions or knowing how to respond to things. And it's really our hearts that know so much better than our brains. So the vibrational mentor just means I'm helping you to remember who you truly are, which is pure love, which feels wonderful and has total abundance and joy and freedom. And in that state, we feel really wonderful. And so that's the goal. No matter what's going on in your life, somebody important to you just died, or your parents are sick, or you're taking care of your children and you've just lost your job, or whatever it is that's going on in our conditional lives, can get way better as soon as we start feeling better on a consistent basis. Like my group meets twice a week because momentum is so important. So we develop positive momentum towards the higher vibrations, and we get purer and higher vibrations. And it's not like we measure it. It's not like a frequency with a megahertz number attached to it, but we can feel the difference. We can feel this thought feels a little better than that thought, which means that the one that feels better is a higher vibration. And so it's just a matter of allowing ourselves to rise up the vibrational scale. And it's a skill. Anybody can learn it. Once you practice it a little bit, it starts to become second nature, and it changes everything. It's an absolute game changer for my clients, and it has been for me too.
Well, how did you become involved in receiving God's opera for others and explain to people what God's opera is?
So I had been listening to Abraham Hicks, and which is Esther Hicks receives Abraham. So which means she goes into a trance, she goes on stage, she goes into a trance, and she receives her inner being or source, God, some people call it. Some people call it, Mother Earth, Father Sky. Some people call it infinite intelligence, whatever that is. She receives that, and then people come up and ask her questions. And that's how I started learning about it. I spent about 5 years learning it in that way. I went to all their workshops and their cruises and stuff, and learned and learned and learned. And then I didn't think I would ever be able to be like Esther. But then I was out walking with my friend Shannon in the woods. It was actually in Asheville, and we were there ahead of a workshop, an Abraham Hicks workshop in Asheville, and she was telling me all these experiences she'd been having. And by the end of the day, I just had this knowing come over me that I was going to be doing that same kind of work. And it started very naturally. I started doing it every day. It just took off from there. And I realized within several months that I wanted to do it more formally, like a business format, because I really wanted to help a lot of people. Because Esther doesn't take private clients, she doesn't do small groups, she only does these large workshops, thousands of people. And I wanted to provide a more intimate setting. And so when I started receiving my guides named Oprah, so it's a kind of a joke. I'm not claiming that I'm channeling Oprah Winfrey. I'm just receiving my guides. It's an inside joke. It kind of refers to Oprah Winfrey, but we spell mine Opra, just Oprah. And so that's what they're named. And when I go into this trance and then they come forth and my clients ask Oprah questions, Oprah is able to read their actual vibration, not just listen to their words. And so they can read what their pure desires are, what they really mean when they say things, how they're really feeling. And so, with just a little bit of gentle, loving guidance, Oprah helps clients really figure out what they want, what their purpose is, where they're headed in life, how to release all the resistance they've been feeling, how to feel better starting right now, no matter what's going on. I mean, people come in with all sorts of compelling circumstances going on in their lives, from being beaten by their spouses to losing their jobs to being completely out of money and everything, and worrying about their kids. And they come out of the session just so much clearer and so much higher vibing, so feeling better, with more resourceful, more resilient, more capable of understanding what's going on, and just relaxing and just allowing things to unfold naturally. And I mean, it's like a happiness factory. We're just all looking to get happier because we can't help anybody else. It's kind of like the airlines say, put that mask on yourself first and then turn and help anybody who needs it. Because if you're passed out, you can't help anybody. That's the whole concept, right? So it's the same thing here. We help ourselves feel better, like really feel better, not superficially feel better, not like, gambling or drugs or alcohol, or, like really feel better. And once we start really feeling better and start doing better, we have more abundance and love and joy in our life. Now we can be of service to the people around us, which is what we really want. We all want to be of service. And so this enables us to be that service, to do that service, to have that service in a very loving, abundant way.
So it's actually Oprah. Okay, so I
Yeah,
apologize
Oprah.
about getting it wrong.
Oh,
So
no worries. Nobody knows how to say it. They're like, what's this? Yeah.
so talk about the trickiest part of releasing resistance.
Oh, wow. The trickiest part about releasing resistance is probably when we're so familiar with it, we're so almost comfortable with it because we've been doing it so long. Because resistance usually comes from a limiting belief of some sort, like, I can't do that. I'm too ugly. I'm too short. I'm too tall. I'm too broke. I'm too, whatever it is, or I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not experienced enough. I'm not well enough trained. Whatever it is, that limiting belief and really the underlying limiting belief is I'm not worthy. That's what it typically comes down to. I don't feel lovable enough. I don't feel like I've earned it because we humans have this weird conditioning that we do to each other that says you got to earn whatever it is, respect. You got to earn love. You got to earn money. You got to earn comfort and all the things that we want. And so when you start releasing those limiting beliefs, everything changes. Everything feels so much better. And so probably the number one difficulty with releasing a limiting belief or resistance is acknowledging, claiming that you actually deserve to release it. Because frequently it's something like, I have to watch the news because otherwise I'm not an informed citizen, or it's my responsibility to take care of my children to the point of sacrifice of myself, or like there's a million beliefs like that, resistance. And so the first obstacle usually is identifying it. The very next one right after is like, yeah, but can I really release that? Am I a good person if I release that belief? Am I still going to be able to do the things that I need to do if I release this belief? And it's scary. It can be challenging. But once you become willing to release that, you set an intention to release it, it starts to just fall away of its own because it's unnatural. It's against love. All of those limiting beliefs, they're human constructs. They're not healthy. They're not right. They're not true. And so then, once you accept it and set the intention, then it starts to just fall away. Then it's just a matter of practice, noticing when you're thinking it again and just letting it go. It's some very specific, easy skills that I teach. But yeah, that first part is recognizing it and then accepting it, that it's time for that to go. Yeah.
Okay, everybody, it's Michael E. Cullen II.
And I'm Sesame and Carta from the All Too Real 2 podcast. We're passionate about movies, TV, and pretty much all things pop culture.
Dive into the chaos of failed sitcoms, direct-to-video sequels, and the quirky realms of cinema and TV.
Join us every Thursday for your dose of All Too Real 2 entertainment.
We'll guide you through debates like whether Howard the Duck qualifies as a superhero.
Ponder if Larry the Cable Guy could be the new Rock or Schwarzenegger.
Discover if some shows and movies should have stayed in the cutting room.
Ever heard of a sitcom featuring that dictator with the funny mustache? Well, we watched it.
We're dedicated to unraveling the peculiarities of pop culture, sometimes with awesome guests.
So, if you're into the eccentric world of pop culture,
listen and subscribe to All Too Real 2.
Available wherever you find podcasts
and on Age of Radio.
Okay, does that fall in line with some of the best practice tips that you would give for people to get back in alignment no matter what's going on in their around them?
Yeah. Yeah, so that first rule, do whatever it takes to feel good. That's the pivot point for everything. And that's the easiest practice tip I can give anybody who's listening. Like, say, for example, you're upset about something and you think, I don't want to be upset. This doesn't feel good. So one of the easiest things you can do in that circumstance is take a couple of nice deep breaths and let them completely go and feel your body just relax. Just relax. So it's just like, oh, yeah. Oh, that feels so much better. There, you've done it. You've done whatever it took to feel better. So, this, like I said, this isn't about going out and eat ice cream or, getting drunk or anything like that. It's about actually feeling better in your body. And so there's a whole series of little things that you can do. But the breathing is the very first one. Deep breath in and just let everything out and feel your whole body just relax. From that place, you can say, okay, now what can I do to feel better? And generally, it's choose a better feeling thought. If I'm stressed or upset about something, it's probably because I'm thinking I'm going to be late, so and so is going to be mad at me, I don't have enough money, I'll never find a spouse. Like whatever thought I'm thinking is causing my body to get very tense. And so when I release that breath, then I can say, okay, what would I rather be thinking? I'd rather think, well, the right spouse will come along at the right time. And I've always had enough money, and it makes sense that I'm always going to have enough money. I'm not going to just die from lack of money. So I can just relax about that. I can start choosing slightly better feeling thoughts, and now that I'm relaxed and I'm thinking, it's not so bad, now I'm thinking, oh, I know something I could do to make money, or oh, I know where I could a group that I could join where I'm likely to meet people, and maybe my new spouse will be there. Like I start getting resilient. I start thinking of new things because I'm feeling better. I've raised my vibration. Now all of the higher vibration possibilities that have always been there, now I can see them. I can feel them. They can come to me. So that's the tip and the trick that anybody can do starting right now. You don't need me. You can learn it all on your own. If you want to speed it up, you can come to someone like me, but you can do it right now and repeat it and repeat it and repeat it every time you think of it, and your life will start to change. You'll start to feel better.
Well, tell us about your book, From Lonely to Fearless. Tell us, things like what listeners can expect when they read it, who is it for, and why you decided to write it.
Great questions. So had come home from a trip that I'd been on, and I knew I was going to be off grid for about a month. And so I set an intention before I left. When I come home, it's going to be like my old life is just kind of sitting around on shelves all around the room. I'm going to walk into the room and I'm only going to pick up the things that actually give me joy. And I'm just going to leave the rest of it there. So rather than me have to dismantle unwanted things and let go of things and push things away, instead, I'm just going to come back and just pick up the things I want and leave everything else there. And what I ended up picking up was not much. And in that kind of space, came this book, and all it just came to me and it flooded into me, and I started writing. I was actually staying at a friend's house, and next thing I know, she's like knocking on the door saying, Ramona, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine, I'm writing. She's like, okay. What are you writing? It sounds like you're writing fast. And I was like, I'm writing a book. And she was like, well, okay, I didn't know you were going to be writing. I said, I didn't either. So I just wrote this book in like 4 or 5 days, the basic framework, a lot of the text of it. And then over the next 2 weeks, I edited it and formatted it, and then after that, I sent it off and had people give me feedback, and I rewrote it and I rewrote it. And so it just really poured out of me. And I would say that the person I wrote it for may or may not self-identify as lonely. Lonely is a little bit of a placeholder for just not feeling right in our lives. Like we might feel a little bit hopeless, we might feel desperate, we might feel lonely, but it's kind of like, how people say a lot, I thought I was hungry, but I ate and I didn't feel any better, and it turned out I was thirsty, or it turned out I was tired, or it turned out I was bored, or it turned out I was upset. But hungry is kind of the thing that we call it a lot of times, and that's kind of the way loneliness is. So the book is really for anybody who's just feeling a little off kilter in their life, and they want more, but they may not know exactly what it is, but they want to feel better. They want to accomplish different things. They want to know more about their purpose, or they want to know what it is that they want. Maybe they've been so conditioned away from knowing what they want, they don't even know what they want anymore, and they want help. So that's who it's for. And the book takes the reader all the way from looking at the idea of loneliness and talking a lot about the things that I just talked about. It looks at the kind of the myths about loneliness. As people say, oh, you're lonely, oh, well, why don't you just go join a group, or why don't give me a call next time you're feeling that way, we'll chat. And so people see it as a kind of a superficial thing that can be kind of glossed over or fixed easily, where in reality it's a disconnection with ourself, with our inner being, and with our true feelings. And so the rest of the book talks about what loneliness actually is, what disconnection from ourselves actually is, and a whole bunch of exercises and 41 case studies to show exactly how to start improving your life right now. And that's what I want my readers to get from the book. I want them to come away saying, wow, I have really learned some new skills. And as I practice them and start implementing them, I can really feel the difference in my life. Like, because you can start right now. And I want everyone to have the skills to know how to feel better. Because those are the skills I was lacking until I was 55 years old. I'm 65 now, but up until 55, when Betty died, I seriously did not know how to control my thoughts. I didn't know how to feel better. And now I do. And that's what the book teaches.
So, for those who are more advanced in their spiritual journey, what are some of the challenges you believe they might face?
Well, so many of us we start on a spiritual path, and it might be law of attraction or it might be something else, but any of the positivity type practices that we tend to come to a little bit later in life, and we come to it because we've come to a kind of a crossroads in our life. We've lost our spouse, or we've lost our job, or we've lost our home, or whatever it is, and it's got our attention enough now we're ready to actually do something about it. And we start implementing positivity practices. Maybe we start meditating or doing yoga or whatever it is. Maybe we start going to church, whatever it is, and we start to feel better. And that's really great. And then we start really getting in touch with what we really want, and we feel even better. And then maybe we do a couple of other things, we feel better and better. But at some point we reach, some people describe it as a kind of a glass ceiling. Like, I feel like I've raised as far as I can, but I don't know how to go any higher. Some people feel it like a block. Some people actually come to me saying, I feel like I'm going backwards. Like, I felt better last year than I do. I had this really great um awakening kind of a thing, but now I feel like I'm not doing it as well as I used to, or as often, or something just doesn't, it feels stalled somehow. So that's typically when people will come to me for actual to work with Oprah, because it's kind of excruciating to feel like, oh, I almost reached the promised land and I can kind of see it on the other side of the trees there, but I feel like I can't reach it. It can be a very frustrating experience, and I know because I went through it. And that's where I really want to be able to help people. Because when I was doing it, I wanted private lessons with Esther Hicks, and like, let's just get this done. And she wasn't available. I couldn't find anybody that I liked anywhere near as her. Like, she just felt very, very real, very respectful, and very beautiful and open. And that's what I wanted. Everybody else every other teacher or guru or whatever that I could find, they just didn't feel right to me. And so what I want to do now is provide for others what I didn't have, which was personal attention, direct feedback on a regular basis. And so that's what I provide for my clients. And those are the clients that tend to come to me are the ones who are ready to have a major transformation. They're ready to do the work, meeting twice a week for 90 minutes each time. It's a big time commitment. And so the people that come to me do tend to be kind of advanced, medium to advanced, let's say, students or practitioners of positivity, and they want more. They really want, like, a lot of them, like, they want to start their own business, or they want to make a job change into something much more satisfying, or they are trying to save their marriage, or they've got a problem with one of their children and they're really desperate to figure out how to help this child, and all the mainstream stuff they know instinctively doesn't work. And or whatever it is, they have a desire, or they want to have a desire and they don't even know what it would be, but they want. I would say my clients come to me with big desires and ready to go to that next level. And that's kind of where the sweet spot is of the Alignment Circle, the group that I run. Very, very small. It's a VIP mastermind group, very intimate, and lots of big changes. Yeah.
So, tell us about any current or upcoming projects that you're working on that listeners need to be aware of.
Well, I'm working on my second book, Stop Overthinking, and it's all overthinking. But I've also got an Oprah workshop coming up in 2 weeks. It was going to be in Asheville, but Asheville is experiencing some challenges right now because of Hurricane Helene. So we've moved it to Sky Valley, Georgia. But again, it's going to be a very small group, but we still have a couple of spots open if somebody wanted to join us. And that's October 19th. And somebody can just go to ramonagaley.com, get in touch with me that way. Use the contact us and reach out to me. ramonagaley.com, or you can just write to me, ramona@ramonagaley.com, and I can tell you about it. And the alignment circle is probably the best way for someone to, if you go onto my site and just go to the alignment circle page, you can read all about it. And then there's a button there that you can sign up for a call with me, a free call. And it's not a sales call. It's more like a discovery or a strategy call where we'll talk about where they are now and where they'd like to go. And I will help them kind of get to the bottom of a couple of things. And once we've got a lot of clarity, then they may or may not want to move forward with me. And if they do, and if I agree that I think they'd be a good fit, because not everybody's a good fit, then we could talk about the alignment circle and possible membership. But it's really just about helping people feel better now. They have some resources to help them with wherever they are. If they're real beginners, I'm probably going to suggest, I have about 5 different practitioners that I refer people out to that help with people who are more in their beginning phase. But either way, I'll help them wherever they are, help them take at least one step towards where they want to go, get a lot of clarity, and then we'll also see if maybe they'd like to participate in the alignment circle.
Okay, so you throw out your contact information, ramonagaley.com. So close us out with some final thoughts. Maybe if there was something I forgot to talk about that you would like to touch on, or just any final thoughts you have for the listeners.
Well, we covered a lot. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that we missed, but I guess I would probably like to just reiterate, if you've got anything going on in your life right now and you're not feeling good, you're feeling loss or lack or frustration or impatience or hopelessness even, you could be suicidal the way I was 10 years ago. You can start feeling better right now. No matter what you're going through, no matter what your circumstances are, no matter your current skill level, take a deep breath and let it out, and then do it again. We call this coming back to the heart. And as you come back to the heart, you can have a lot of thoughts in your brain, but just remember, that's not you. You are in your heart. Your brain might be saying, oh, this is stupid. This will never work. She doesn't know what she's talking about. Don't trust her. Like, oh, you don't have time for this. You got to go make money. Whatever those thoughts are, they're not true. And you can tell because they start to tense you back up again. You can tell what thought is true for you in this moment by how it feels. And if you want help figuring out how you feel, come see me. I'll help you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, remember, take a deep breath and let it out. Take a deep breath, let it out. Go to ramonagaley.com. Follow, rate, review, share this episode to as many people as possible, especially people that you feel like need to take a deep breath and let it out. Jump on your favorite podcast app. Give us a review. Follow us. Check it out. Share the show. If you have any guest or suggestion topics, Curtis Jackson 1978 at att.net is the place to send them. Thank you for listening and supporting the show. And Ramona, thank you so much for joining me.
Curtis, thank you so much. This was really lovely. It's been lovely to get to know you a little bit and to speak to your audience. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
For more information on the Living the Dream podcast, visit www.djcurveball.com. Until next time, stay focused on living the dream.